So the Witch Queen campaign was hands down the best campaign that Bungie has ever put together, and if you're not clued into years of lore, then the story may have gone over your head. Well, today I'm going to run through the story details of the Witch Queen campaign, what happened, plus what it means for the future of Destiny 2, concerning Savathun and the Witness as we march towards the next big expansion, and that one is Destiny 2 Lightfall. Well, warning, this is going to be full of spoilers, so if you haven't finished the Witch Queen campaign and you don't want to be spoiled, then do click away now. So consider this your spoiler warning, but if you did play and you want to join the discussion for what's next, then do stay with me. Well, the tagline for the Witch Queen expansion was Survive the Truth, and one interpretation of that is the truth is that Savathun didn't steal the light at all, she was given it by the Traveller, just like we were. The Traveller chose Savathun, and a true believer like Zavala are really having a hard time dealing with it. The Witch Queen campaign was a bombastic adventure through Savathun's throne world, playing on the mystery of how did Savathun get the light. So we assume that she must have stolen it, and with the help of Ikora Ray and the gang, we set off to find out what happened. One aspect of the campaign is learning more about one of our most dangerous enemies of all time, and that is Savathun herself. Well, Savathun came from a planet called Fundament. It was an unremarkable planet inhabited by a species called the Krill, which Savathun was a part of before a huge transformation brought on by the darkness. Savathun didn't always go by that name. Previously, in a fragile Krill state, she went by the name of Sathona, and she had a sister and a brother. Her father was the Osmian king, and he was driven insane by prophecies of a coming apocalypse, fed to him by his worm. He was eventually assassinated, which led to Sathona and her siblings fleeing from danger, only to be led underground by the worm. Sathona made a pact with the worm to become the Hive, and they would be granted great power in exchange for infinite murder, death and destruction. However, the worm lied to the Krill siblings. There wasn't an oncoming disaster. In fact, the Traveller had arrived at their planet, and they could have been taken in by the light. But the Witness persuaded Sathona and her siblings to do the bidding of the darkness through the worm, before tricking them into this miserable life. So at the end of Season of the Lost, Savathun broke out of her crystalline prison, encased there by the Queen of the Awoken, Mara Sov. We thought that she'd escaped, but actually she was wounded and made her way towards the Traveller, on the outskirts of the Last City. So Savathun died there speaking to the Traveller not far from the Last City. Then a ghost called Imaru came down from the Traveller and resurrected Savathun as a guardian, therefore choosing Savathun in the name of the light. We were led to believe all along that Savathun had stolen the light, as how could the Traveller choose Savathun and the Hive, given their appetite for death and destruction? So this is what Zavala just cannot wrap his head around. As Savathun was brought back as a guardian, her memories were removed, much like happens to us when we're brought back as guardians from humans. Savathun must have known she was going to die, as throughout the Witch Queen campaign, we're travelling all around the throne world gathering and collecting relics, and therefore Savathun's memories, allowing Savathun to essentially restore her memories to a previous state. Savathun removed her worm through Mara Sov, then was given the light by the Traveller, and then restored her own memories by tricking us into doing her bidding. It's all pretty clever stuff. Ultimately, we kill Savathun in the final boss fight in the Witch Queen campaign, but before we can destroy her ghost Imaru, the Traveller escapes, seemingly with Imaru, leaving the prospect of Savathun coming back at a later date. After the final scenes with Savathun at the end of the campaign, we do get a new cutscene, with who we can assume to be the Witness. This is a new, dangerous enemy, tall and sleek, with a different design to anything we've seen in the Destiny universe before. The Witness appears to be in control of the Pyramid ships, what we've known to be the darkness until this moment in time. During the campaign we got the revelation that the Witness had fed lies to a young Sathona and tricked them into becoming the Hive. The Witness has been operating behind the scenes for 1,000 years, and now appears fed up with the Traveller and the battle against the light. They reveal a huge fleet of Pyramid ships, and are seemingly on their way to meet us in battle, which is going to most likely commence in Lightfall, or perhaps the final shape, which is the next couple of Destiny expansions. We don't really know much about the Witness yet, but given the build up to Savathun took at least 3 years, I would imagine we're going to learn a lot about them in the coming weeks and months. The Vow of the Disciple raid is this weekend, and it's probably going to be our first clue, as the raid is set inside a pyramid. Whether we get to see a fight against something similar to the Witness, that is yet to be seen. However, I don't imagine we're going to see a new race of enemies in Destiny 2 until we get to the next expansion. They could, in theory, use the raid as a teaser, but we're just going to have to wait and see what happens in the raid. Well, the Witness looks like they have a fleet of pyramid ships, plus they've been sending out confusing messages. Salvation has always been the message that they've sent to us. This was in the cutscene at the end of the Shadowkeep DLC, where we met a version of ourselves. Then again, in Season of Arrivals, where we had some form of contact with the darkness, although Savathun was trying to obscure the messages being sent, and we worked with Eris Morn to try and decode the messages. In Beyond Light, the darkness gave us stasis, and also weapons. What the Witness and the darkness are playing at isn't really clear at this stage. Post-campaign, we do get some more story info related to the worm and the Witness manipulating Savathun. We have Savathun's worm, and we go through the Parasite exotic quest to get the new grenade launcher. So Morozov wants to learn details from the worm, and the Vanguard, they're stunned with the knowledge that Savathun was given the light by the Traveller. So the directions are clear though. We must avoid another collapse brought on by the darkness, and the next major story beat is going to be in Lightfall, and that sounds very ominous for all of us Lightbearers. So I would expect plenty of story building moments over the next 12 months to that moment. We don't have an exact timeline for Lightfall just yet, but I would place bets on sometime in 2023. So Bungie isn't tied to a yearly release schedule since they went solo from Activision. However, they did recently jump back into a partnership with Sony, but given they want to retain their independence, hopefully this means also release timelines too. So in terms of what's next, I think this means a few things. So we're very likely to get a new enemy race to fight in Lightfall, perhaps the same race as the Witness. These tall, thin beings look unlike anything that we've seen in Destiny 2 before, and it's past time for us to get a new enemy race. The last time we had something close to this was the Scorn, although they almost feel like modified Fallen. So we have had extensions to various races like the Vex in Beyond Light with the addition of Wyverns, but it'd be really good to get a whole new race of enemies. Also, I don't think Savathun is dead. She may be dead at the moment, but given her ghost still exists, as long as her body is around, which I understand the Vanguard now has, then she could come back. I do believe we're on a journey of making a grand alliance to face off against the Witness and their armies of the darkness, so we're already in a pact with the Cabal and Keitel, and we're recent friends with Elixni and Mithrax. I can't imagine teaming up with the Vex given their time-travelling death machines, and also the Scorn appear to be aligned with the darkness, given we're fighting them this season. Well, that appears to be the build-up for the next few months and maybe years as we head into Lightfall and the final shape. So we're laying the groundwork for the battle with light versus the darkness, and I am 100% here for it. Also, interestingly, post-campaign we have Savathun appearing in front of us in the Altar of Reflection activity, and this is a puzzle-like encounter where we have to solve a riddle, then fight a little bit, and finally Savathun communicates with us via a vision. So this happens week over week, and Savathun is giving us 2 lies and 2 truths. So first week included Mercury, Io and Titan are in my care, the Witness return Mars to your solar system, the power to move worlds will soon be yours, and the Taken King will rise again. So some really interesting stuff there. So Mercury, Io and Titan are in my care. That's from Savathun's perspective. I'm not really sure about that one. And the Witness return Mars to your solar system, that one seems like it could be likely. The power to move worlds will soon be yours. Really interesting stuff, and that could be a nod to the future. And the Taken King will rise again. Well, there are rumours that the Taken King raid is coming back. It will be really interesting to see if they can weave that into the narrative. So it does appear as if we're going to get new messages each week, and this week include the message, "Your destiny lies beyond the solar system." So this could mean ultimately leaving our local system, one that we've been inhabiting since Destiny 2's launch back in 2014. Bungie has said that Lightfall and the final shape would be the conclusion of the current saga in Destiny 2, but I really don't think that's the end of the Destiny 2 story. I think we're about to venture across the stars. Well, that is it for what happens at the end of the Witch Queen campaign, and also what I think's next for the Destiny 2 franchise. I'd love to hear what you think about the Witch Queen story, and as always, thank you so much for watching. For more Destiny 2 content like this, hit that subscribe button down below and subscribe to This Week in Video Games. Or check me out on Twitter at TWIVG Podcast. If you enjoyed this video and found it useful, liking and sharing the video would really help me out. Otherwise, check out the other videos on the channel. Well, thanks again. I'll see you soon.